Welcome back, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Today, we're diving into the world of Washington quarters, one of the most iconic coins in American history. While these coins are often overlooked, some of them are worth big bucks in today's market. From rare mint marks to pristine conditions, we're counting down the top 9 most valuable Washington quarters dollars you should be on the lookout for. So grab your magnifying glass and let's get started. First up, we're diving into the fascinating world of coins, specifically the 1970 Washington quarter dollar coin with the D mint mark. This coin might be sitting in your change jar right now, and you won't believe its potential value in today's market. So, grab your magnifying glass and let's see if you're holding a hidden treasure. First, let's get familiar with the coin itself. The 1970 Washington quarter was minted during a fascinating time in U.S. coinage history. By 1970, the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for over 3 decades, having been first introduced in 1932 to honor the first president of the United States, George Washington. However, there are some key details that set the 1970 quarter apart from other years. If you're looking at a quarter with the D mint mark, that means it was minted at the Denver Mint. There's still a good chance that your 1970 D quarter could be worth much more than its face value. The D mint mark on the 1970 Washington quarter means it was struck at the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint has a long history of producing coins, and their quarters are often more abundant compared to those minted in other locations, like Philadelphia or San Francisco. But this doesn't mean that your coin is worthless. In fact, there are factors that determine the value of a 1970 D quarter, and they can vary depending on its condition and circulation history. Coins that have been in circulation for a while tend to show wear, so their value is tied closely to their grade. So what exactly does it mean if your 1970 D quarter is in circulated fine condition? Well, this is a grade based on the coin's wear and tear. A coin that has been in circulation for many years, like the 1970 D, may have signs of wear on the design. The details of Washington's hair and the eagle on the reverse side might be slightly worn down, but overall, you'll still see most of the key features clearly. A coin in this condition, in pristine shape, but it still holds collectible value due to its age and rarity. So, how much is this fine circulated condition worth in today's market? The market value of the 1970 D quarter depends on a few things. A coin in fine circulated condition typically ranges between $600,000. While that's not a huge amount, it's still a nice increase from its $700,000 face value. Coins in better condition, like those with minimal wear or in uncirculated grades, could fetch significantly higher prices. In fact, the 1970 D Washington quarter in higher grades, such as in MS63 or MS65, can be worth anywhere from $501,000, and in MS67 they can reach over $100,000. The better the condition, the higher the value, especially for collectors who are hunting for specific years and mint marks. While millions of these quarters were minted, the ones that have survived in excellent condition are fewer and more valuable. So, if you happen to find a 1970 D quarter that looks nearly brand new, you might just have a gem on your hands. If you think you found a valuable 1970 D quarter, where should you sell it? You can sell it online on platforms like eBay, at local coin dealers, or at coin shows. If you're not sure about the value or authenticity of your coin, it's always a good idea to get it professionally graded by a reputable grading service like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation or Professional Coin Grading Service. So there you have it, the 1970 D Washington coin out there, but it can still pack some surprising value. Whether you have a fine circulated one or a high-grade gem, it could be worth more than you think. Keep looking through your spare change. You might just discover a hidden treasure. Next up, we have an exciting topic for you. The 1971 Washington quarter dollar with the D mint mark. If you've ever wondered about its value, rarity, or the history behind it, you're in the right place. First off, let's talk about the coin itself. The 1971 Washington quarter dollar is part of the famous Washington series, which has been in circulation since 1932. On the obverse, we see the profile of George Washington, the first president of the United States, designed by artist John Flanagan. On the reverse, we have an eagle, a symbol of freedom and strength, with the inscription E Pluribus Unum. The 1971 quarter's reverse design is the same as the previous years, with a detailed depiction of the eagle surrounded by the words United States of America, quarter dollar in liberty. But here's the key detail. This particular coin has a D Mint mark, which means it was minted at the Denver Mint. The D Mint mark is important because it can affect the coin's value depending on its rarity and condition. In 1971, a total of approximately 360 million Washington quarters were minted, but the Denver Mint produced the vast majority of them. However, just because there were so many minted doesn't mean they're all worth the same. Factors like condition and rarity play a big role in determining a coin's value. Now, let's discuss the condition of the coin. This particular 1971 quarter is classified as very fine condition. What does that mean? Well, in numismatic terms, a very fine coin shows moderate wear but still retains a lot of detail, especially in areas like Washington's hair and the eagle's wings. These coins typically exhibit some light scratches and wear, but they remain highly recognizable, and the results are usually better than their actual value. For example, the more worn a coin is, the lower its value will be. Coins that are heavily circulated, with significant scratches or fading, are less valuable than those in higher grades, like extremely fine or uncirculated. So, if your 1971 quarter is in very fine condition, it's a nice piece, but it commands the highest prices compared to mint condition coins. So, how much could you expect to get for your 1971 Washington quarter with the D Mint mark in very fine condition today? Well, based on current market trends, a coin in this condition typically ranges from $500 to $2,000. It's not a massive value, but considering it's a common coin, it's still a fair price for a coin that's over 50 years old. Now, if your 1971 quarter is in pristine, uncirculated, or mint state condition, it could be worth significantly more. These coins could fetch prices upwards of $10,000 or more, depending on demand and market conditions. It is also worth noting that the value of a 1971 quarter with the D Mint mark could fluctuate depending on a few factors. Collectors might pay a premium for coins with unique characteristics, such as errors or certain die varieties. For example, if the coin has a noticeable die crack or a striking error, it could be worth more than a typical circulated example. Collectors love to hunt for coins from certain years or mint marks, especially when they come across pieces in good condition. And while the 1971 D Mint quarter is necessarily rare, it can still be a fantastic addition to a Washington quarter collection, especially if you focus on completing a full set from different years and mints. If you're looking to sell your 1971 Washington quarter with the D Mint mark, you'll likely find buyers at local coin shops, online auction platforms, or even through coin dealers. Prices can vary, so it's always a good idea to do your research and shop around for the best deal. Next up, we're going to dive deep into a specific coin that's been making waves in the numismatic world, the 1972 Washington quarter dollar, with a D Mint mark in circulated extra fine condition. This coin is a favorite among collectors for several reasons, and if you're holding on to one, you might want to pay attention. It could be worth more than you think. First, let's talk a bit about the 1972 Washington quarter as a whole. This quarter was minted as part of the U.S. Mint's regular coinage series, which started in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The Washington quarter has been in circulation for decades, and it remains one of the most widely recognized coins in the U.S. It features a portrait of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, designed by John Flanagan. Now, specifically, the 1972 quarter is not considered a rare date in itself, as millions of them were struck. However, what makes certain 1972 quarters valuable is their condition, mint mark, and certain unique characteristics that appeal to collectors. Next, let's talk about the mint mark, especially the D Mint mark. The mint mark indicates where the coin was produced. For the 1972 Washington quarter, the D Mint mark means it was struck at the Denver Mint. Coins with different mint marks, like the S for San Francisco or P for Philadelphia, can have slightly different values and rarity depending on the production numbers. The Denver Mint was one of the primary facilities that produced quarters in 1972, and it struck over 200 million of them that year. Although the D Mint mark isn't the rarest in terms of production numbers, it's still sought after by collectors, especially those in higher grades like extra fine condition. Now, let's get into the real meat of today's topic, the extra fine condition. If you have a 1972 Washington quarter with a D Mint mark in extra fine condition, you might be holding on to something more valuable than you think. Extra fine coins are generally defined as coins with only minimal wear. The details of the coin are still clearly visible, but the coin may have experienced some light circulation. For quarters, this means that the hair detail on George Washington's portrait is still sharp. The eagle's feathers on the reverse are clearly defined, and there is very little loss of detail overall. Coins in this condition are more desirable to collectors compared to those in lower grades such as good or very fine, which are more worn. So, if you have a 1972 Washington quarter that looks sharp and well preserved, but shows signs of being used in circulation, it could be classified as extra fine. As of recent market trends, a 1972 Washington quarter with the D mint mark in extra fine condition typically sells for around $500 to $22,000. This might not seem like a huge amount, but keep in mind that this value is based on current market prices, which fluctuate over time. Coins in this condition are still considered collectible, and if they've been well preserved, they can attract the attention of the right buyer. However, if your quarter is in higher grades like almost uncirculated or mint state, the value could be higher, up to $600 to $2,000 or more for a coin in perfect condition. Some rare varieties of the 1972 quarter could push the value even further. But, as of now, for the average circulated 1972 Washington quarter in extra fine condition, you're looking at a value of a few bucks. Look at the face of George Washington and the eagle on the reverse. In extra fine condition, the details should be crisp, with only slight wear on the highest points. Extra fine coins still retain much of their original luster, though it may be a little subdued if the coin has been circulated. If you're unsure about the grade, it's always a good idea to consult a professional coin grader, or use an online grading guide to help assess your coin. To wrap things up, the 1972 Washington quarter with a D mint mark in extra fine condition may not be the rarest coin out there, but it still holds value for collectors, especially those looking to complete their collections or find coins in higher grades. Whether you're just starting out as a collector or you've been in the hobby for years, knowing the value of your coins is crucial. And the 1972 quarter is a perfect example of how condition plays a key role in a coin's worth. So take a close look at your 1972 Washington quarters. You might just have a hidden treasure on your hands. Next up, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1977 Washington quarter dollar. If you have one of these in your collection or even tucked away in a jar of loose change, you'll want to know what it's worth today. We'll talk about the key features of the 1977 Washington quarter, the significance of its lack of a mint mark, its market value, and what makes it stand out, even in circulated fine condition. So, grab your magnifying glass and let's get started. First, let's take a brief look at the history behind the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932, commemorating the first president of the United States, George Washington. The design has seen a few changes over the years, but it has largely remained consistent, with a profile of Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. The wear on the coin might cause the eagle on the reverse to lose some of its detail, and the high points, such as the letters and the date, could be slightly worn down. But don't worry, even a fine coin can still be worth more than its face value, especially when it comes to collectors and numismatists. Now let's get to the million-dollar question. What's the market value of a 1977 Washington quarter dollar in circulated fine condition? Generally speaking, the typical 1977 Washington quarter without a mint mark doesn't command a huge premium in the market, since it was produced in large quantities and has rare varieties or errors. However, even in fine, circulated condition, it's worth a bit more than that. At current market prices in 2025, you might expect to see a 1977 Washington quarter without a mint mark in the $525 range, depending on the specific condition and demand from collectors. While that might not sound like much, keep in mind that certain factors, such as rarity, demand, and the specific coin's condition, can cause the price to fluctuate. Coins in better condition will always have a higher value. If your 1977 quarter is graded higher than fine, say, in very fine or extra fine condition, its value will likely be closer to the $600 to $200 range. If it's uncirculated, it could even fetch more. While the 1977 Washington quarter is not known for major errors, it's always worth checking for any subtle varieties that could make a coin more valuable. A double die, off-center strike, or other minting errors could be worth far more than the standard $600 to $2,000. The coin market is driven by collector interest. The Washington Quarter, especially the 1977 version, isn't a particularly rare or scarce coin, but specific collections or series could spark higher demand, increasing its market value. The 1977 Washington Quarter is still an interesting part of U.S. coin history. It could appreciate slightly over time, especially if it becomes part of a specialized collection, but you shouldn't expect a dramatic increase in value in the near future." End quote. Before we wrap up, let's talk about how to identify a 1977 Washington Quarter in fine circulated condition. You'll want to check for the clear date of 1977 on the coin's obverse, just below Washington's profile. The reverse should show the eagle with its wings spread, and the lettering United States of America should be legible. To sum up, the 1977 Washington Quarter without a mint mark, in circulated fine condition, is worth about $502,000 in today's market. While it may be a rare or highly valuable coin on its own, it still holds historical significance and remains a collectible piece. Keep an eye on the market, though values can change, and you never know what hidden gems you might find. Next up, we're going to explore a fascinating piece of American history, the 1980 Washington Quarter with the D mint mark, and uncover the value this coin holds in today's market. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, this video will provide you with some valuable insights. So, let's jump right in. First, let's take a quick look at the Washington Quarter itself. The Washington Quarter was first minted in 1932 to honor the first U.S. president, George Washington, and has been a staple in American currency ever since. The design features a portrait of George Washington on the obverse, while the reverse typically displays a majestic eagle or a variation of the eagle in the United States coat of arms on later coins. Now, let's zoom in on the 1980 Washington Quarter. This specific coin is part of the ongoing series minted from 1932 to the present day. The 1980 Quarter was struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But today we're focusing on the D mint mark version, minted in Denver. The D mint mark indicates that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the most important minting facilities in the United States. It's essential to note that the 1980 Washington Quarter, while not one of the rarest coins, is still a significant piece for collectors, especially when found in very fine condition. So what exactly does very fine condition mean in numismatics? Well, a coin in very fine condition will show clear details, with some light wear on the high points of the coin. It will have sharp, well-defined features, but there might be some signs of circulation like slight scratching or fading on the coin's surfaces. Now, the most exciting part, the value. The market value of a coin can fluctuate depending on demand, condition, and rarity. For a 1980 D Washington Quarter in very fine condition, you're looking at an approximate market value of $502,000. This price can vary depending on where you purchase it, but this is the current range based on recent sales and market data. While we're talking about value, let's go over some factors that can influence how much your coin is worth. The better the condition, the higher the value. Coins that are graded as extremely fine or mint state will have a much higher value, $602,000. If you happen to find a 1980 D Quarter with a unique error or an unusual feature, it could significantly boost the value. The market value also depends on how many collectors are actively seeking this particular coin. The more collectors there are, the higher the demand and value. The portrait of George Washington should be sharp, with clear facial features. The inscriptions around the edge, including "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," should be legible, though slightly worn. The eagle on the reverse should show distinct wings, claws, and the shield beneath it. While there may be some wear on the eagle's feathers, they should still be discernible. And the last indication for a person with depression is a wearing, walking, or talking fit. Looking to buy or sell a 1980 D Washington Quarter house, you have got a few options. First, you can check local coin dealers, where you can inspect the coin in person before making a purchase. Online platforms like eBay, Etsy, or even specialized coin auction sites are also great places to buy or sell your coins. To summarize, the 1980 D Washington Quarter in very fine condition is a great addition to any collection. While it's not the rarest coin in the world, its historical significance, combined with its current market value, makes it a worthwhile investment for collectors. Always keep an eye on coin condition and rarity, as these can drastically affect the price. Next up, we're diving deep into the 1982 Washington quarter dollar coin, particularly one with the P mint mark, and exploring its condition, significance, and market value. Stick around, because you might just be holding on to a coin worth more than you think. Now let's begin with the basics. This is the 1982 Washington quarter dollar coin. This series of quarters was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design, which you see here, has remained largely unchanged, with Washington's profile on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse side. As we zoom in on the obverse of the coin, you'll notice the words "Liberty and God We Trust" in the year 1982. These elements are key to understanding the coin's time period and historical value. On the reverse side, we can see the bald eagle, an iconic American symbol. It's also important to mention that these quarters were made from a copper-nickel clad composition, giving them a silver-like appearance, but they're not pure silver. Now, let's talk about something crucial: the mint marks. You'll notice that this particular coin has the P mint mark on it. This is significant because it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, and the P mark was first introduced in 1980. Prior to this, Philadelphia coins didn't have mint marks at all. Mint marks are important to collectors because they tell you where the coin was produced. In 1982, quarters were minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. So why does the P mint mark matter? When it comes to coin grading, we typically use terms like good, fine, very fine, extremely fine, and uncirculated. In short, the better the condition, the higher the value. A coin in good condition will show significant wear, while one in uncirculated condition will look almost brand new, with no signs of wear on the details. Let's take a look at an example in fine condition. In this grade, the coin has a fair amount of wear, but all the major details are still visible. You'll notice some flattening on Washington's portrait and the eagle's feathers, but overall it still retains its charm. A fine 1982 Washington quarter in this condition can be worth anywhere between $600 to $1,000, depending on demand and the market at the time. When it comes to an uncirculated coin, things change dramatically. An uncirculated 1982 Washington quarter will show absolutely no signs of wear, and the details will be crisp and sharp. These quarters can fetch anywhere between $700 to $1,000, or sometimes even more, depending on the exact condition and whether they're part of a special collection. So you can see that the value can increase based on the condition of the coin. But there's one more important factor to consider: the market trends. Now, if you're holding onto a 1982 Washington quarter with the P mint mark in uncirculated condition, you're definitely sitting on something with potential. But as with all coins, market fluctuations are key. Right now, these quarters are valued around $722,000. But the market can shift depending on collector demand, economic trends, and other factors. So always keep an eye on the market if you're looking to sell. You can find these coins being sold at online auctions, coin shops, or even in bulk sales. Some online marketplaces like eBay or specialized coin auctions might list 1982 Washington quarters with a premium, especially if they're graded by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. So, how can you tell if your coin is in uncirculated or fine condition? Here's a quick tip. Use a magnifying glass and look for any signs of wear on the high points of the coin, like Washington's cheek or the eagle's wings. If you're unsure about your coin's condition, it's always a good idea to take it to a professional grader. A good grade can significantly impact the price you can sell it for, so getting an accurate evaluation is crucial. Alright, coin lovers, that wraps up our deep dive into the 1982 Washington quarter dollar with the P mint mark. Whether it's in fine or uncirculated condition, this coin is still a significant part of American numismatic history, and who knows, it might be worth more than you expect. Next up today, we're diving deep into a specific coin, the 1983 Washington quarter dollar. Now, this is a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but there's more to it than meets the eye. Whether it's in great condition or showing signs of wear, we'll be breaking down what makes the 1983 quarter special and how its market value can surprise you. So stick around to learn all about the Washington quarter dollar from 1983, particularly the one with the P mint mark, and what it's worth today. The 1983 Washington quarter was minted as part of the standard coinage program by the U.S. Mint. Featuring the classic design of George Washington on the obverse, this coin is part of a long history of the Washington Quarter series, which began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. On the reverse, you'll find an eagle perched on an olive branch, an iconic symbol of American strength and peace. But here's the catch. Despite being a common coin, the condition, mint mark, and market demand can dramatically impact its value. The 1983 quarter was minted in multiple locations across the United States, with the most notable being the Philadelphia Mint, which placed a P mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. This mint mark indicates that the coin was struck in Philadelphia, which is important for collectors, as coins from different mints can vary in value. The mint mark also plays a big role in rarity. The Philadelphia Mint, being one of the largest mints, produced the majority of the 1983 quarters, so they're relatively common. However, despite the abundance of these coins, certain factors can influence their overall worth. Now, here's where things get interesting. When it comes to the value of a 1983 quarter, its condition is crucial. Uncirculated quarters, meaning coins that have never been used for transactions and show no signs of wear, are more sought after by collectors. These coins usually have a pristine finish, with sharp details, clear inscriptions, and a brilliant shine. On the other hand, you'll often find 1983 quarters in bad condition, maybe scratched, dented, or tarnished from years of use. These coins will typically have a significantly lower market value, often just their face value of $500,000. So, what's the current market value for a 1983 Washington quarter? Well, in terms of the general coin in regular, circulating condition, it typically holds a value around its face value, $600,000. If you're looking for the 1983 PE mint mark quarter in uncirculated condition, the price can be higher, typically ranging between $503,000, depending on the overall quality. If you happen to find a 1983 quarter with specific errors, such as off-center strikes, doubled dies, or die cracks, it can attract much higher offers from collectors. In those cases, it's uncommon to see the price rise to anywhere from $700 to $2,000, or even more, depending on the rarity and condition. So, coin collectors and numismatists are always on the lookout for coins with unique flaws, and if you have a 1983 quarter that's in particularly bad condition but features an interesting error, it could turn into a hidden gem. When buying or selling online, be sure to check the going rates on platforms like eBay, Numismedia, or Heritage Auctions. These can give you an idea of what others are paying for similar coins. Always ensure you're dealing with trusted buyers or sellers to avoid scams. To wrap it up, the 1983 Washington quarter dollar, particularly the P mint mark version, might be the most valuable coin in your collection, but depending on its condition and any unique errors, it can still hold some surprise value in the market. Next up, we're going to dive deep into the world of the 1984 Washington quarter dollar coin, specifically the one with the P mint mark, and we'll explore its current market value in uncirculated fine condition. So, if you have one of these coins lying around, you might want to keep watching because you could be holding on to something with a bigger value than you think. Before we get into the specifics of the 1984 Washington quarter dollar, let's quickly go over the history of the Washington quarter dollar. Minted in 1932, this coin was introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The Washington quarter has been in continuous circulation since then, with various changes in design and minting marks along the way. The coin itself features the profile of George Washington on the obverse, while the reverse shows an eagle perched on a branch, though this design was later modified over the years. As we look at the 1984 version, you'll notice it doesn't feature any drastic changes from earlier designs. But it's the condition of the coin, along with the mint mark, that could make a huge difference in its value today. In 1984, the U.S. Mint produced the Washington quarter in 3 main locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The 1984 P mint mark stands for the Philadelphia Mint, which is where the majority of quarters were produced. When you see this P mint mark, it signifies that the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. While most 1984 quarters are worth much over face value, the condition of the coin can drastically change its value. Let's talk about the different conditions you might encounter. If you're lucky enough to have a 1984 quarter in uncirculated condition, That's great news! Uncirculated coins are ones that were never used in everyday transactions, meaning they don't show any signs of wear or tarnish. These coins are usually shiny, with clear details, and they can fetch higher values depending on their specific rarity. In 2025, a 1984 Washington quarter in uncirculated condition, especially one with the P mint mark, can be valued anywhere between $500 to $2,000 on average in the market. But if the coin is in top-notch condition, it could even go up to $602,000 or more, particularly if it's graded MS65 or above by a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC. Now, if your 1984 quarter is in fine condition, meaning it shows some wear but still retains much of its design and details, it's likely worth $702,000 at most. In this condition, the coin isn't nearly as rare or desirable as one in uncirculated condition, but it still holds some value above its face value due to the historical significance of the Washington quarter and the fact that some collectors are always on the lookout for specific mint years in various conditions. While the 1984 Philadelphia quarter has a relatively high mintage, other mint marks such as D for Denver or S for San Francisco could make a difference when compared to this one. Collector demand fluctuates over time, and some years might see a higher demand for certain coins, boosting their value temporarily. While most 1984 quarters are rare by any means, certain uncirculated or higher-grade coins may be rarer, especially if they've been preserved in pristine condition by collectors or institutions. To sum it up, the 1984 Washington quarter with the P mint mark, while incredibly rare, can still hold some value depending on its condition. If you have one in uncirculated fine condition, it could be worth a couple of bucks or more. Next up today, we're diving into an exciting topic, the 1987 Washington quarter dollar coin with the P mint mark. You might think this coin is anything special at first glance, but stick around as we reveal its true value in today's market, especially when in very fine condition. The 1987 Washington quarter dollar coin, how it's valued, and why collectors are taking a closer look at this seemingly standard coin. We'll also explore what makes a coin in very fine condition stand out and the potential value it can fetch in today's market. The 1987 Washington quarter is part of the ongoing series featuring George Washington, our first president. Minted in both Denver and Philadelphia, this coin was produced as part of the regular issue series and carries the traditional design by John Flanagan, which was first introduced in 1932. It features a portrait of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle in flight on the reverse. On the obverse, we see George Washington's profile, while the reverse displays a majestic eagle flying with wings spread wide, symbolizing strength and freedom. The 1987 coin also bears the E Pluribus Unum motto, as well as the United States of America and quarter dollar. But, as with all coins, what really makes them valuable is their rarity, condition, and the mint mark. The 1987 Washington quarter with a P mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. This is an important distinction because, for years, the Philadelphia Mint did not use a mint mark, and coins struck there were unmarked. However, in 1980, the U.S. Mint began adding the P mint mark to quarters and certain other coins to indicate they were produced in Philadelphia. While quarters minted at the Philadelphia Mint have a P mint mark, it's essential to note that the 1987 quarter in particular is not considered a rare coin by itself, as it was minted in large quantities. The total production for the 1987 Philadelphia Mint was over 480 million coins. However, there are factors that can increase its value. So what makes this coin valuable? As with all coins, the condition or grade plays a huge role. Coins are graded based on their wear and how much detail is visible. The grading scale ranges from good to mint state. The very fine condition is a grade where the coin shows wear but still retains much of its original detail. In very fine condition, you'll notice the coin has clear detail on George Washington's hair and the eagle's wings. The legends around the coin, including Liberty and In God We Trust, are still visible, though they may show slight wear. The key here is that the details aren't completely worn down, and the coin still looks sharp enough to appeal to collectors. Now let's talk about the current market value. While the 1987 Washington quarter in circulation is typically worth more than face value unless it's in pristine condition, a very fine example can fetch a little more on the market. As of now, the 1987 P quarter in very fine condition is worth anywhere between $500 to $2,000, depending on the specific demand from collectors and market conditions. It's important to note that some coins from this era, including the 1987 quarter, can fetch higher prices depending on where they are sold. For example, at coin shows, auctions, or online marketplaces like eBay, collectors may pay more for quarters in better than even condition, especially if they're seeking to complete a set. Now, while the 1987 Washington quarter with a P mint mark is not extremely rare, it can still hold some value for collectors, especially in very fine condition. The key to making the most out of your collection is to focus on maintaining and grading your coins properly. Whether you're looking to start collecting or you just stumbled across a 1987 quarter, knowing how to assess its value is important. Thank you for joining us today. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin collecting tips and market insights. Have any questions or want to share your experience with the 1987 Washington quarter drop? A comment below and we'll get back to you. Until next time, happy collecting.